All right, welcome back to the shop. It's a cold Saturday morning here in New York. So we're gonna shoot a video this morning. This tape or video 10 on the high voltage number 12 build. Today we're gonna work on the fuse. Yesterday I did the stab and elevators. I was gonna do the flaps this morning, but I ran out of 5/32 aluminum tubing. I got it coming today. Amazon is great. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up the fuse here. Start putting the formers in. Uh, so this is a fuse that I laid up over a year ago. It's very light wood. These weigh 1.75 each. I'm better at molding now than I was then. This one came out really nice. It's only got a couple little minor things in it. It has half-ounce glass on the outside, which I shot silver in the mold. And on the inside, I used .2 carbon veil. It worked pretty good, but now I would use half-ounce glass on both sides and steel ply and a breather cloth to suck it out. This was done without a breather cloth. But it came out pretty good. I mean, they're pretty light. The finish on good. So I'm going to use them. So what I got to do today is going to kind of line it up so I can line up the formers. I want to be able to mark the center line, so I'll show you how to do that. But I'm shooting for a fuselage that weighs totally under 8 ounces. 8 ounces is the limit. That'll get me to the 60 number. I think I can build it at 6, 6.5. So we'll see. But I do have most of the formers made already. I do have all the templates for them, but as I look through it, I got pretty long with this one. Got a battery mount, so I just got to do all those things. I'm going to mark, again, today we're going to get the formers in. We're going to mark the center lines, and we'll get it all set up in the mold here. So now what's nice about working on the molds is you have a lot of opportunity for reference lines. So I got angle iron here, 1x1 angle iron. That's clamped exactly on the thrust line, and that'll hold in place. So then I can measure off this. This is parallel to the center lines. So I'm going to use that as a reference. Got it on both sides set up. This mold is one of the first molds I made. It really lines up well. It's got all the marks in it, and they're all pretty parallel from side to side. So, all right. So we'll move the camera and go get going here. All right. So I think this camera angle is best for what we're going to do today. We'll see. I would have had it the other way. We'd only see a section of the tape bench here, so I don't think this is good. But what I'm going to do is move all the templates off that I have. And these are the formers that are all cut in halves. I have to make a couple formers. Now I'll put them off on the bench here. Here's the motor mount, and this one I have a ring that was cut out already. This is really nice. It's 2 inches exact diameter of the thing, and this will be the outside hard piece up against it. So that comes out really nice finish on it. All right, so now what I want to do is right now I taped in this bulkhead former. It's taped in. What I'm going to do is tape the 2 halves together, and then I'm going to have the thrust lines marked in the mold and on the pieces so that I'm going to sit up on the bench and then lay it out and then scribe a line. The wing center line, the thrust line, and the stab line. So here we go. So what I want to do, I just have this former taped in place. It was fitted on both halves of the fuse, so it folded right in place. So I know that keeps my width exactly where I want it. So what I'm going to do is line up the nose. And all we're doing is taping it together just to hold it in place. It don't have to be perfect, but we want to really just get it close as it would be. Just get rid of it. Forming is nice. You can kind of really get it close. I should have did a better job of trimming this one out. It looks at it, you can see they do a good job of trimming the sides. So there are some gaps though for the few with. Deal with them. So there you have it. Right, so it's all taped together. All right, now what I happen to have is a set of foam blocks that I use to kind of hold this in a cradle. So what you want to do is you want to line this up. And you want to make sure that you're somewhat parallel. I mean, it does have there are flats on the side, so I can measure off the side a little bit. But the other thing, if you look down it, you want to be able to see this look right. Now, marks where I know the thrust line. So there's a measure off that. In this case, a little more than 4 3/4. Five. Looks pretty good. So now one of the things I'm going to do is I'll probably get the laser out, burn it down along it. But what I'm trying to do is get, and I'll check this to make sure it's parallel, but it should be, that's there. Really trying to get this perpendicular to the table so you can draw parallel. So I've done this before. Now, just looking down. So, listen, this is all this becomes aesthetic because once it's marked, we'll get it all in the right spots. front up a little bit. See if that gets the height we want. Yes. That's pretty close. No. What you want to do is look at it. That look about right. Not bad. Yeah, let's just measure it. I like using the see-through rulers because they're easier to see. A little less than 5/8. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go for an 8. Way out here. See how that looks? That looks pretty good. Huh. Now that's pretty square. I like it. Looking at the overall, does that look right? I think the tail's got to come up a little bit. I don't remember now. Whatever I set this out when I put the motor mount in, where I put this thing in the jig and the wing, because really what's important is getting a wing perfectly parallel and at zero incidence. Then I set everything up off the wing anyway, so then the tail will be set off the wing, and then the motor mount set off the wing. So I can always always sand the nose in. It's not perfect. So I think that looks pretty good. Let me just measure everything again. 4/8. pretty good. We have now. I think that's good. You never want. The way I look at the aesthetics of this is when this thing's flying level, you never want it to look like it's flying, back down. Right? You always want to make it look like it's even anything more nose down than anything else. And then it looks a little more aggressive. But you want to get it so it looks the right way in level flight. So this is kind of an aesthetics thing, I guess. Placement of the components you can get absolutely perfect, but then it's like when they're in the right spot, does it look right in the air? So I'm pretty happy with this right now. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Here's my jig here. So what we'll do is we're gonna mark the thrust line. Now I recommend using the thinner marker, a finer one, because then you get a little more accurate on your measurements. You can use a regular Sharpie, but the line is fatter, so there is a margin of error. So we can see it on the inside. We'll put a notch on the inside so we can find it. Um, so that's the thrust line marked in here. Now what I'm gonna do, so I know that my wing center line, is 3/4 of an inch down. So let's see, 3 3/4, so down to 3. I'm sure I put marks in this, so I could know. Why it is. That looks to be about 3/4 of an inch. Let's check. It is. So now we'll mark the wing center line, and I will mark the wing center line down most of the plane. We'll have to transfer this. sure the table's clean. So now I got the wing center line. Now what I'm going to do is mark the stab. Which will be up an inch and a half, and I'll only go an inch and a quarter because I got to take up for a half inch for the stab. So I'll mark both. I'll mark the wing center. I'll mark the stab center line and the bottom cutout. So I know I got to go up inch and a half. So 3/8. Actually, hold on. Here's I mark my piece here. Get my tape measure on here or something. Just check. Yeah, perfect. Now this is the center line of the stab. Now I'll just move it quarter inch down because the stab is half an inch thick, and this will give me the bottom. Now, now what I want to do is I'm just going to draw a reference line. Is where is this? Just drew a perpendicular line. That's where the bulkhead is. Alright, so now we got that all marked. Now we're going to lay this out. I do want to put a couple more. I want to put a couple of holes in this so I can line up a ruler inside. But I'll do it in a spot where it can't be seen because it'll be behind the wing for again. You only get the sharpened 1/8 rod that I had. This will all get cut out anyway. So now I got holes on the inside. I can kind of lay a ruler down and line them up. Okay. Put one on the back end too, so I run the ruler back there if I need to. Most of this some of this will get cut off anyway for the rudder. All right. Now we got a lot of the center lines marked, and we're ready to put it back in the molds. And I'll put the formers in, mark on the line. So we'll do that next. All right, so I got them back in the molds and set up. And now we're going to start laying out the formers. This is the bulkhead former, which goes up against the wing. So I want to be about a little less than 12 inches away. So now what I'll do is using a straight edge, kind of lay this out. Now I have marks in these jigs. Hold on, I do want to put this up if I can. Just keeping the mold from bouncing around. Now, so really straightforward. What I'll do is set this at exactly 12. Thing. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going to line these up. I'm going to line these up so that these are perfectly parallel. So I'm working off the same stuff. Well, I get on the wedge. These molds are pretty good. I mean, they're handmade molds, so they're never perfect. But these ones are actually very nice. Straight edge. So now, what I want to do is get these at a good parallel. So now, if I wanted to, so these are nice and parallel. And this will be a hole former. And what I can easily do is, I'm just checking this now, make sure my center lines all line up. They do. Fit up is good. The other thing I do for glue, I got to mark where the battery's gonna go. Battery mounts. You guys see me do this before, same deal. But I do want to just give me an idea where it goes. Now, I know it goes 7/8 down. So my battery mount, I'm gonna put it. Now I got my battery mount, which I want to say goes right up to the side of the battery. Look at it. And I gotta measure this every time, but I'm pretty sure it's 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 minus another eighth is 7/8. 7/8 down, and then another eighth. So one, if I go 1 inch down, I'll be a good my 1/8 inch plywood mounts across like I've done before. So what I gotta do. I need a ruler flexible enough to be able to warp the 1 inch down. Okay, good. I'll do the same thing on top of that, where I'm going to put my little tabs here, mounts for this, and then I'll have a 1/8 piece of plywood above it, which I will make them definitely. All right. So far so good. We'll do the same thing on the other side. A lot of the stuff is pretty redundant. Um, Now because I squared these up, Measure it. Good. The same process. So now I know where the battery mounts are going to go. I'm going to make those pieces of clips. But yeah. Now we're ready to put this in. So what I'll do is I'll make that first plywood piece. That's one. So let me just dry fit up a lot of that I have already. I got the. This is for the battery hatch mold. I made a bunch of these already. These ones I cut out already, but they go in there. Now we'll get them all lined up. So I know where that one goes. That's that one. Was it? It's a template. I think I will mark out for a wing cutout. It's a template. Just looking at where I'm going to put the hatch. So I got the patch where the patch is going to go morphed out. And what I'll do is measure up here, and I'll do the same thing. I'll lay it up in the same spot. So just kind of give me an idea where all these formers are going to go in. That's what I think. That's, you kind of lay these out in a way, and then I must have already cut these out already. So what's important here is I got to know where the battery hatch is going to go through. So what I'll do is I'll pre-cut that after it's glued in. All right, so I gotta leave that line and cut this. All right, I'll do some stuff off camera because it's pretty straightforward here. Just line it up. But I'll get back to when I'm actually putting these in. I'm gonna make the plywood battery mounts. I'll make them, put the other pieces in. You've seen that before on the last videos. So I'll do it off camera. All right, so I did some stuff off camera. What I did was make the battery mounts to be able to mount the battery mount to bolt down. Those are ready to go. I put the sides. The other thing I did was make the little tabs that I line up the battery mounts for. And these are actually curved a little bit because of the side of the fuse. So I sanded them in and they're ready to go in as well. So now we're going to start putting the film in. Um, I'll do this with thick and thin CA. Now, what we're going to need here, so we're going to do the inboard side first. But we're going to start right up at the front. And what we're looking to do is set these measurements so we can go from side to side here. So we're looking for this in this case 2.5, which so blocks of 2.5. That's a block. Make sure it's nice and down. So what's important now is to make sure these measurements are equal on both sides, here and here, and then follow up on that one as well. So in this case, I'm pretty happy with that. Now what I'll do is I'll run a little thin CA in here just to kind of tack it in place. And then run from thick. Q-tips here. Q-tips to kind of what you do is forcing the thick CA in. Okay, now what about Go to the other side here, do the same thing. I use this block to really make sure it goes in parallel with the party line. And that's glue. Now we'll run some thick CA around it. I'm more thick CA because the challenge with thin CA is it can go through the hole. This wood is pretty light where it could go through. Okay. Right now, what we'll do is we're going to glue these blocks in. Glue the other block in on the other side. So now I'm going to put it that. I'm going to clean the tip of this. So what happens with the medium CA is that they put the top on, the glue horizontal. So I do take a pair of pliers and just peel it off. And then I'm back to a clean edge. Yeah. All right, that's the first one glued in. Now we're going to glue in the next here. Okay, 12 inches and 12 inches. dry up. Now I'm gonna do some bit of glue on the tab to this side only. This one. I glue it on there. I can glue it on the side, but then when you fit it up, if it's not perfect, you hit it. So, but I know on this side, I know that line lines up perfectly. So there we go. All right, now the next thing they're gonna put in this former here, the middle former, that kind of just keeps the thing from being super spongy. And what I got to do is I don't want to. What I'm gonna do is mark where the hatch goes. So I'm not gonna glue an area here because what I want to do is glue this down. Let's just measure myself. Tack this down. Now, I just want to tack it in a couple spots here. Now I'm going to make a, like I've done before, I make a piece here that kind of gets up on the bottom of the hatch. First things first, I want to just put the line through. So what I'm doing there is I'm kind of just pushing the hatch line down so it goes to push it through the other side. And this way it's easy to cut out the hatch line. Pretty much cutting them also with a ballpoint pen, but it stays in place. So right now, that one's in place. This one. That's kind of wiping an excess CA that's in there. and it helps to kick it off. All right, so now see it long enough. Yes, perfect. Right, now we're going to make a bracket for the top of the patch. And that's about 9 3/4, 9 3/8. There. Now I got a piece of 1/16 5-pound wood. That looks good. Strip off 4 pieces here because we're going to put some 007 carb in the middle, just stiffen up the nose a bunch with hardly any weight. So we got a piece of carb in here. We got a bunch of cut off pieces that it looks like I can get away with everything. Okay. So we're gonna have 4 exactly the same size. Sorry. Okay, tack glue this down. And what this does, by putting that carbon in the middle, it adds a tremendous amount of strength. So what we're gonna do is run. I've done it before. You just run a bead right down, let the CA wick in there. Just wick CA in there. All right, now this piece is ready to go. One. I'll make the second one here. And the CA will wick right through the carbon. Here. I'll just sand it down. There we go. Now, it's always good to have a piece of sandpaper on your table so you can kind of straight, so you can straighten stuff out. If that's a little bit big. And now, what we're going to do. So we're just going to cut this right on the line. Just tack it down. Can we use thick CA on it? The hatch there really does two things. One, it gives me a nice clean edge. The hatch. The other thing is it adds a bunch of rigidity between these two formers, tying them together, allowing the motor not to be really clean. Do the same thing on the other side. You gotta trim it a little bit. It's good. Here's the kicker. Some pepper spray is the kicker to really kick off the stuff. That's good. All right, now if you look, you can see where I indented with the pushing the marker through. It really makes it for line it up on the outside. It's a good little trick. Now let's so we got that in. Now we're gonna get to line up the rest of the formers. I do gotta make a former for sure. Let's see what. All right, now we're gonna fits up pretty good here. So let's see what that measurement is. Okay. We'll go 20 inches back. It's a little arbitrary here. Where is my phone? This is pretty redundant. And what I'm going to do here is mark here and here, and mark there, mark there. And that's going to give me the halfway line. I'll do the same thing on the other side. And what I'm going to do is try and mark a straight line where the wing goes through. I like to be able to attach the wing. Right, so we'll do the same thing on the other side. Mm. 20 inches back. All right, so I lined them up. What that's doing for me is that's where the wing's going to go through. That's a nice straight line. So after I get this in, if I cut that nice and straight down, we'll have a good connection there. And so that's ready to go in. Let's check this one. That's good. All right, so we said 20 inches back. We'll glue this one in. 20. And again, now I'm not going to glue it in the wing area. So I just tack it in place, and then I'll run a little CA glue seam here. All right. Do the same thing on the other side. But this is pretty much the same thing we're going to keep doing. So I'll do a lot of this off camera. Right, so I got all the formers in. I'll show you a little thing that I found that is better than what I was doing. I used to cut these, but now what I do is I cut them and it'd always be a little bit underneath sometimes. But now I just take a Zona saw and I take a ruler or straight edge, just put it like that. And it's only about, it'll be a 16th out, and I just run the Zona saw down. And what happens is I end up being high, which is good. And then all I have to do is sand it in. So same thing, put the Zonosaur, run the Zonosaur right across it. And you end up being a 16th high or so. So that's I'm just gonna sand these in. I'll get the phone. And then I'll just take a quick look to see how the fuselage fits up. And that's pretty much what I'm done for today. So got a block with 220 on it, holding it down in the mold. Now we will have to take some of the inside of these out. We'll cut them out for clearance and stuff. But for now, I leave them whole right before I put them together, and then I'll take out the rest of it. And some Scotch tape in here holding this into the mold. Let me just sand this one down in there. Just hold it down in the mold because it does want to spring a little bit out. And a couple swipes of sandpaper, and you're good. And again, I didn't cut this the greatest when I took it out of the mold, so there's some spots that I'm low. I'll just fill them. I'll use super fill in the seam. So now, here's what you got out of the mold, very nice and stiff. And it looks like the formers will line up nicely. So overall, that's where we are. So you got the center lines in it. If you look, I got 10. See the protrusions where the hatch is, where the wing cutout's going to be. But overall, the fit up is pretty good. All the formers line up. If you look at them, they're all touching each other. So pretty good. Yeah. Like I said, just where I had a couple spots where I had challenges cutting it. But overall, very happy with it. All right, so now things we got left to do here are we have to start trimming out for the excess material we don't need here. So, and I'll put it back together again. What I'm going to do is mark and more to improve. Yep. So yeah, so overall, it came out pretty good so far. I do want to get a weight on it, so let's just see where we're headed here. Most of the stuff is in. All right, so this half now weighs 230. That's 4.5 ounces. Now with the battery mount, timer mount, 5.5. So just shy of 6 ounces. So you got to figure about another half ounce of glue in here. So it should be about 6.5 ounce fuse. So not too bad. I mean, there are some cutouts that have to happen. We'll lighten it up a little bit. But I got a shot at a 6.5 ounce fuse with everything in it, which is pretty good. It'll definitely keep me on target for this, hopefully 60 ounce flame. All right. So, if you guys enjoyed it, I'll shoot some more tomorrow. Thanks for watching.